Welcome to Plan 9 Crunch Reads from a genre novel. I'm Doug Gibson. Welcome to 2025. And we have a more obscure book, but a book that definitely deserves to be read. It is called Thy Soul Shall Bear Witness, and it's by Selma Lagerlöf. It's a Swedish novel. And what's interesting about this is that it's the book that the famous classic silent genre horror, public morality, whatever you want to call it, film, The Phantom Carriage is based on. Remember, The Phantom Carriage is about a ne'er-do-well, a man who abuses his wife and children, is a drunk, has a ghostly messenger in a carriage show him all the things of his past life and shows him the present also. Well, this book was commissioned by a Swedish association to talk about the dangers of consumption. Consumption is tuberculosis. They call it. It was also a fatal disease back then. And one theme of The Phantom Carriage is that the man's bad behavior puts him and his family at risk for consumption. And so I want to read from this book. We'll go from the beginning. Selma Lagerlöf won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1909, the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize for Literature. And remember, this is based on this is what the book that is the inspiration for The Phantom Carriage. Chapter 1, The Storm Within the Soul. It was a poor little slum sister who lay dying. She had contracted consumption of the rapid kind. Arid had not been able to resist it beyond a year. For as long as she possibly could, she went about performing her usual tasks. But when her strength was quite exhausted, she was sent to a sanatorium, where she was nursed for several months without getting any better. When at last the girl understood that her case was hopeless, she went home to her mother, who lived in a little house of her own in a suburban street. Now she was confined to her bed in a narrow room, the very same room she had occupied as child and young girl, and was awaiting death. Her mother sat sorrowful at her bedside, but so anxious was she to bestow all the care she could on nursing her daughter that she gave herself no time to weep. A sister, who had been the sick girl's colleague in the slum work, stood by the foot of the bed, weeping silently. Her gaze hung with tenderest love on the face of the dying girl, and when the tears gathered in her eyes, she hastily wiped them away. Okay, this book I found on Amazon for $1.99. It can be read for free on the internet. And it's interesting to read this is not, I don't believe this is 19th century literature. It might be, or early 20th century. It's interesting to read the great authors of the past, particularly when you see a movie you love and you look to see what the book or story it is based on. And that's how I found out about this book, Thy Soul Shall Bear Witness. I've watched The Phantom Carriage so often and enjoyed it. I just thought I'd take time to find out where it came from. And so we hope you enjoyed this. We'll have another Plan 9 Crunch Reads next week. And we're Plan 9 Crunch. We're at Facebook. And you subscribe to us at YouTube. You can like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to us on TikTok. And the blog is plan9crunch.com. That's a wrap. Thank you.